So a lot of people have been asking me how I make my Instagram story vlogs, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. So let's start this out with some basic things that you're gonna need to film an Instagram story vlog. So the first thing that you're gonna need is of course a camera, but if you don't have one, your phone works as well. The camera I use is the Canon G7X. I really like it because it's light and really compact. And one of my favorite features is that it has a flip out screen, so you can see yourself while you're filming. But apart from that, it can film in 1080p in 60 frames, so you can get those nice buttery smooth slow-mo shots. Alright, so using this G7X, I like to shoot in auto exposure mode because I don't really like to think about the settings or anything like that. And it has a pretty good auto exposure mode, so that's one less thing I have to worry about. So the second thing you'll need is a good video editing software, or any software for that matter. My preference is Final Cut Pro because it's optimized for the Mac ecosystem and it works quite smoothly with it. Render times are really fast and exporting is a breeze with Final Cut Pro. If you're not on a Mac, you could also opt to use Adobe Premiere Pro, which works fantastically as well. And the third and last thing you'll need is a GorillaPod, or any kind of small tripod. I like to use the Joby GorillaPod because it can bend and conform to different surfaces, and it comes in different sizes. This one is smaller and this one's bigger, and there's an even bigger one that I don't have. So that's about it for the things you need, just the basic things that you need to make a video. Let's move on to part 2. Alright, welcome to part 2 of this video, and that's the filming part. So I'm gonna show you guys what I do when I film these Instagram stories. So first, basics. You gotta turn your camera to portrait mode because 9:16 is exactly the aspect ratio that Instagram uses for their stories. So from this to this, and that allows you to use the entire picture for your stories. The next thing you have to do is to focus on a story for the day. So usually I cap my Instagram stories to 2 minutes at max. So you pick a story and you stick to that. And that usually makes a good story, and it's not just random clips of you throughout the day. So what I like to do is I use a cold opening to roughly explain what's gonna happen in that story. Alright, so after you've picked the story, then you're gonna film. So I like to use 3 kinds of shots in my Instagram stories. The handheld shots, the point of view shots, and the walk-in shots. So how this is gonna work is this is basically gonna be like a behind the scenes of me making an Instagram story. So I'm gonna tell you guys what I do and then I'm gonna demonstrate how I do it. So let's get into it. The handheld shots are what I use for when I'm walking around and talking to the camera. And I like those shots because it's very active and there's motion in it. And I don't know if we should be doing this. Ready for takeoff, let's go. The point of view shots are what I use to show me doing something. So for example, I'm getting something or I'm opening something. I like to use the point of view shots where I usually show my hand doing something. Back at it again with the spark, the blue spark. We should like make a name for it. Jerry the blue spark. And lastly, the static walk-in shots. I like to use that to establish a location and then talk to the camera about what I'm doing. We're gonna fly this thing up on this roof. Hopefully we don't get caught. Alright, so apart from the talking shots, I also like to include some time lapses and some cinematic B-roll of like slow motion stuff, and that's where the 60 frames per second of the Canon G7X comes in handy. So I usually just slow that down to get those nice slow-mo shots. And time lapses, that's where the GorillaPod comes in handy because you're able to put it down and just leave it. I usually like to leave it for around 10 to 15 minutes. I think that gives a really nice time lapse, but sometimes you just can't and you have to make do. Alright, so this is going to be the ending time lapse. I think we got a really good shot here. It's really nice. Alright, I take it back. This is the ending shot. Alright, so that's the end of part 2. See you in part 3. Alright, welcome to part 3, which is the editing part. Right now we're going to be editing an Instagram story, and I'm just going to go through the basics and the fundamentals of what you need to do and how to edit an Instagram story. So let's begin. So the first thing that you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to get your footage from your camera. So just pop that out and SD card, and we're gonna pop this SD card in, and there you go, it's here. So for demonstration purposes, I've already put the footage in a folder so it's easier to use. So let's go. This is just the basic footage, the rest of it has already been imported. So first we import the footage. So on my external hard drive, I never save anything on my laptop, so it's all on external hard drives. So I have a folder called videos, and then vlog videos, and then Instagram story videos. So what I do is I name each day as the date. So December 22nd, 2017. So when you go into it, you'll see that I've already imported some, but this footage I haven't imported, so this is how I usually do it. Just new folder, I name it after the camera that I used, A6300, and just copy paste it, and just wait for it. Alright, so now that that's imported, let's pick some music. So in this folder of videos, I also have music. So I've collated around 400 songs that, you know, just music from YouTube that I've gotten. I've downloaded them and I saved them here, so whenever I need music every day, I just have to look at this folder and just look for music. So I usually download in batches, like every week or so that there's new music all the time. So the thing with Instagram is you can't really get copyright strikes, so I think you can just use any song you want and download it using any downloading website. So here are some YouTube channels that I usually take my music from, including No Copyright Music, Blossom, Music for Creators, and Bass Rebels. Those are some really good channels to check out if you want music for your videos. So I have a system here, so once I've already used a song, I like to tag it as red for used on the Instagram stories and blue for used on a YouTube video. So it's a little bit more arranged. And I just like to clean up by date created, so that's how I organize it. So once you've picked your music, then we go into your video editing software. So what I use is Final Cut Pro. So let's fire that up. So once you've opened Final Cut Pro, you're gonna change your settings of your video. Since we're gonna make this 1080 by 1920, because we want it to be portrait for Instagram stories, we're gonna change that in settings. So as you can see, there is a modify button, and there, you can just change it here, the resolution, the rate. So that just depends on what you want to export as. So what I usually do is I just duplicate the previous day's Instagram story, and usually the settings are already there. So if you want to copy these settings, go ahead. You know, take a look at it. I'm not really too keen on the rendering or like the color space and stuff like that, but yeah, just the resolution, just changing it into that portrait mode. That's what's important. Alright, so now let's start importing our footage. So I have everything laid out here, so you can see that naming the folders as the camera really helps out because you're able to organize them easier. So let's import this. I'm just gonna go through this really quickly. Oh, and side note, what I like to do is I put the camera name. So here you can see A6300, and then I click group clips by camera name, and it'll just pop there underneath as A6300. So I do that while I import, so at the end of it, everything will be arranged by the camera. So if I need to look for footage that I know was taken on the A6300, then it's just there. So here, DJI Spark, and it'll be under DJI Spark. Alright, so now that you're done importing, I'm going to give you a little walkthrough of each pane here on Final Cut Pro. So here, you can find your footage. So you can see G7X, and yeah, the music has no data because I didn't put any name to it. Here is your preview. So if you click this, you can see the preview of your footage, and it's still in 1920 by 1080, so later we're gonna have to change that. And here is your info about it, so you can see info, volume, the video, so yeah. And then here are your effects. So I have a lot of effects here, just the pre-installed one and some that I installed myself. That's basically it. So let's begin. So the first trick that I'm going to show you guys is something that really helps using Final Cut Pro. So normally on Final Cut Pro, you drag your clips here and they would just snap into place like that. Like if you moved it here, you couldn't. It just snapped back in place. So what I like to do to remedy that is when I put my first clip in, I put the music here, get the music, and then I put it right where it ends, and it creates this little gray bar here. And that is what I like to edit on, because you're able to drag anything onto there at any point in the bar you want, and it's just easier. So yeah, I put those two there. It doesn't snap into place, so that's a lot better. So and if you want to extend this gray bar, click at the end and drag it as long as you want. And later on, it'll play another important role in exporting the Instagram stories into 15-second intervals. So I recommend you actually do this, so it becomes a lot easier for you when you export your footage. So as you can see here, your preview is in 1080 by 1920, but your video is still in 1920 by 1080. So what you're gonna do here is you go to the info here, and you're gonna turn your rotation to 90 degrees. And what I've found to be the sweet spot for scaling it, as you can see that it's still a little small, is 178%, and usually that just fills the whole bar up. Yeah, there you go. So once you've done that, it's ready for Instagram. But not yet, because you still have to edit it. So for color grading, I get asked this a lot, how do you color grade? And it's pretty simple, I think. My fix is I just have this LUT loader from Pixel Film Studios. I just drag it onto the footage, and it pops up here, and I click here, choose external LUT, and I have a folder for custom LUTs that I made. So what I use is just a kind of tweak of Agfa Vista. So I named it Agfa Vista V1. I open it, and voila! It is graded in the way I grade my videos. And sometimes it's a little much, so you can actually change it up here in the mix. So that's just the opacity basically of the LUT. That's usually just all I do for grading. Alright, so I've actually already edited this because this footage was from last year and I'm only filming this now. So I'm just gonna show you what I already have here, and I'm gonna give you some tips on how I do it. So usually I start with a cold opening, as I've said in the second part of this video, so that's this part. And then I have this over here, which is the title of the Instagram story. So this is just a PNG file that I made on Photoshop. If you export it as PNG and there's a transparent background, it just, you know, goes through. And so that's how you can see like a little bit of the background over there. And then here, that's just the number. I just change that here. You can change it to anything you want. So like 124, boom, okay. And here is the date. So I just changed that and just copy paste it. And you can see here that I've placed a marker. So as I'm watching this footage where I want the intro to be on, that's where I put the marker at this beat. So there, that's the beat. And I just put a marker so I know where I want it to be. So yeah, basically that's it for the intro, and then yeah, you just build your Instagram story. I'm not really gonna tell you how to edit your story because that's really the most fun part of it, because your personality really comes out in how you edit it. But some technical tips. So for audio, when it's B-roll, I just drop down the audio on the clip to -infinity, as you can see here. And so the music's playing at 0 dB. And then when there's some talking parts, like here, so I put 2 keyframes, one here and one where I want the audio level to be throughout that speaking shot. So usually I put it at -20 decibels, and then so for that whole shot it's -20, and then when I'm done with that and I'm gonna go back to B-roll, it goes back up to 0 dB. So that's basically it. Aside from that, here I like to taper off these audio clips so it doesn't sound too choppy. So you can use this tool here and you can just move it. So usually it looks like this. So you just get this and you just drag it there and it tapers off to some nice smooth audio. Alright, so another thing that a lot of people enjoy about the Instagram stories are the time lapses. So I'm gonna demonstrate to you here on another file how I do those time lapses. So for example, let's get this clip. I have this clip. I'm just gonna do the usual turning it around and putting the color grade on. So I have this whole clip, it's really long. And then I listen to the music and wherever I want it to stop. So you have the music here, let's listen to it and let's see where we want it to stop. So alright, so let's stop it there. So usually I just put the playhead here and then I command R and then here I hold this little thing here and then I drag it here to the playhead. So it automatically retimes your footage into a time lapse exactly ending on the beat that you need. So that's just a little tip that I've learned over the course of editing so many Instagram stories. So we're gonna let this render. So here you can see that it's rendering it out 16%. I usually just leave that and do something else while it renders, but it's really fast. And that's what I like about Final Cut Pro. So yeah, render it. Alright, so now that it's done rendering, you have a good time lapse. So let's see that in action. Yeah, so it ended on the beat that you wanted. So yeah, that's usually my trick for time lapses. And then, so at the end, so these words here, those are just from here, the text, and I just use basic title, I drag that in, and I just type in what I want. Hello YouTube, and the font that I like to use is Oswald. Hello YouTube. Alright, so once you've edited your entire Instagram story, you're gonna have something that kind of looks like this. So now it's time to put it into 15-second intervals so you can upload it to your Instagram stories as a continuous video. So here, what I like to do, this is where this little gray bar thing comes in handy. So over here you can see what point of the video you're in. So you drag it over here. So here I'm 4 frames away, and here this is exactly the 15-second mark. So I cut it there, and so you can see here that this is 15 seconds out of a 2-minute 14-second video. So you just do that every 15 seconds, so that's 15, 30, 45, 1 minute, 1 minute 15, you know the drill. So let's do that. Alright, now that you've done that, you can see here, if you look over here at the yellow 15 here, what I like to do is I just double check everything that is 15 seconds. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that's going to show me that I have to export it 9 times, but the whole video continuously on the Instagram stories. So here you can see that this last video isn't exactly 15 seconds. So you just have to make sure that it doesn't go over 15. It could be under 15 if the last part of your story is only that long, and that'll be fine. So now the exporting part. So if you want to export just that part of this dark gray bar here, you press R and you click on it, and when you see these little pull tabs here, that's how you know you're on the right track. And then Command E for export. And then here, I just put the settings for the export. Web hosting H.264, and the resolution is the one we changed to, the 1080 by 1920. And yeah, that's basically it. And then I just name it here as the file name December 22, 2017. That's the date. And then so there are going to be 9 exports from this video, so -1. And save. And it's gonna export. Alright, so it's done exporting. It's gonna give you a little preview. So today we're gonna be... And yeah, it's good. So you do that for everything. I'm not gonna do it for everything because I've already done this for this Instagram story. So that's just for demonstration purposes. And at this point, you're done with Final Cut Pro, so you can close it. Alright, now that you're done exporting the videos, now it's time to put it onto your phone so you can upload it to Instagram. So for Apple users, what I recommend is you use AirDrop. I'm a big fan of AirDrop, and it's one of the main reasons I like using Apple because it's just so convenient. So here I'm going to open a new Finder window and then go to AirDrop, and on my phone side I'm gonna make sure that AirDrop receiving is on everyone so that I show up here on my Mac. So now I'm just gonna open up another folder, vlogs. I export it to Final Vlogs, Instagram Story Vlogs, and then clean up by date created. So the last one comes on top. So here, I'm gonna just drag and drop this here, and you can see that it's transferring, and then ding, it's here on my phone. So that is one of the most convenient ways, in my opinion, to transfer videos. But if you're not on the Mac ecosystem, or you don't have an iPhone or a MacBook, or like, you know, both of them to do AirDrop, then I could recommend sending an email or Dropbox or Google Drive. That works as well. It's just, AirDrop is just a lot faster because you don't have to open anything except for AirDrop, and it just does it almost instantaneously. So once you have your videos on your phone, then it's time to upload. So now what you're gonna do is upload your stories. So from your home screen on Instagram, you're gonna swipe to this side and then swipe up, and it'll be over here. So you can see that it'll preview here for you. And as usual on Instagram stories, you can tag it, add a location, hashtag, poll, and everything like that. You could even draw on it if you wanted to. But usually I just upload it. Let's do that. So it's gonna be here. So on the lower left hand corner it says uploading, but once it says posting, that's when you know it's safe to upload another video. This is not connected to it, but yeah, this is just for example's sake, this other video. So it'll post, and then once it says posted and the next one already says posting, then you can upload the next one and the next one. And that's just the way that I've found out that makes sure that your Instagram stories upload in the correct order. So once it's uploaded, there's a new feature of Instagram that you can put archived stories onto your profiles. So I just go over here to this new button, and then you can see the stories that you've uploaded, and you just tap on those, press next, put a little title. Let's name this new video. And you can put emojis even. I like putting emojis, glasses. You can edit the cover to something that you want. This does not look nice, so let's just make it black. And you add it, and it pops up there. So you can see here that I have quite a collection of Instagram stories. I add something new to the highlights there every day. So there's quite a lot, so if you want to binge it, you can just watch it. And I like having it there for quite sentimental reasons. I just like archiving every day. Alright, so that's basically it for making an Instagram story vlog. So if you guys want to do it, go ahead. I'd love to see the Instagram stories that you make. And so yeah, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below of any other methods that you know of making Instagram story vlogs. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to share. So yeah, see you guys in the next video. Alright, so I almost forgot to show you guys the finished product. So, here it is. So today we're gonna be hanging out with some of our friends from high school. Ouch! And we're gonna attempt to fly a drone at the rooftop of one of our friends. Let's go! Hello Renzo! Hello Steph! Playing basketball? Yep, in a football jersey. Indeed. We're gonna fly this thing up on this roof. Hopefully we don't get caught. Back at it again with the spark, the blue spark. We should like make a name for it. Jerry. Jerry the blue spark. And I don't know if we should be doing this. Ready for takeoff, let's go. This thing just happened. Guess who was filming for like 15 minutes and forgot to hit record? DJI, that should be like a feature, like it just automatically records. To avoid this. This is the first time we've used the return to home feature, and it is not fucking working. I hope it's working. I really do hope it is gonna work. Dude, it worked! It worked so easy! That's amazing, I'm sweating. And I think that ends today's story. Good shot. It's been fun. Look at the sunset though.